was just finishing watching a softball game.
Or how are we doing?
They just won.
Bam.
So,
All right. Good.
So, Mike, just, to come out and get another dominant win, second time in the postseason here in front of a really strong home crowd.
Yep.
Just thoughts on overall that type of performance.
Really happy for our kids. We were tired. I asked the kids why. I think it was just because we're on spring break. We didn't have a normal day. We'll make sure that doesn't happen again on Friday. But I know when they saw that crowd, it changed. When we came out of the tunnel, we go back in, and we have a late arriving crowd, and when we came out, they were like, whoa. And I think that got us off to another great start. I do think there's no question that having played, the schedule we played in the SEC, as we come out, our pace can be overwhelming, and we don't sense that until the game starts. And I think we imposed our will defensively yet again to hold that team to 37 points. All you have to do is go back and look, since Coach Kellogg's been there, how efficient they are. To hold them to 22%, that just is a total team effort. You look down the stats, it's really defense that's been carrying us. Then the offense gets going, and we made a few more threes. We made a bunch in the first half. I think only one in the second half, but that got us off to a great start.
And tonight, I think I counted 6 different men's basketball players in attendance, after the big weekend that they had. Just what does that mean to have support of them coming out and supporting your team in their postseason?
We've been supporting each other all year long. We live in the same building. We get taped in the same area. They're friends. They hang out with each other. They pull for each other. We went as a team the other night and watched them play in the game, and it helps us all when they play well. So it's awesome to see them here. I know our crowd loves to see that, but it's genuine. They're not just coming. They got other stuff to do. They're on spring break too, and they got a pretty big game coming up. So for them to come out and support, it means a lot to our girls and us as a staff as well.
And the last thing I'll ask is there's a possession I think of in the third quarter where Michaela got an offensive rebound. Somebody missed. Riley gets an offensive rebound, kicks it over to Saylor, who hits a layup. In fact, it just seemed like it was a possession where you saw the intensity the team was playing with and their determination.
I think so. I know exactly the play you're talking about. I got a couple of texts about it from people that are coaches, and they were that defining moment, paying off. You could tell they're playing with some energy. So, I think there were moments throughout the game. There were a lot of really cool moments in our huddles tonight. Things that were being said to each other. We've been through a lot, and I think to see them smile a little bit. We've got a terrible group of poker players. They cannot mask their feelings at all. I would love to take all of their money after they get older and it's legal, whatever. But they want to please, and it's fun to see them now starting to learn. I know we're a long way into the season, but they have really learned to talk to each other, respond to each other, and pick each other up. Chrissy having to go out after the halftime. Her shoulder was really, really sore, an injury from practice a few weeks ago. Just kind of aggravated it. I think she'll be ready to go for Friday. But, Riley stepped in there seamlessly. I thought Jersey's minutes were, again, really, really good. And then, ask a lot out of Mac and Sam. Mac defensively, the job she did on Harrison, holding her to just one field goal until the last on her. I think the other field goal came after we checked her out. So, like I said, to hold that team to that number of points and that percentage, I'm just now looking. They had 3 field goals in the first, 3 in the second, 2 in the third, and 3 in the fourth. I wouldn't have predicted that.
Riley was in here. Have you ever had a player impact a game more without scoring a point?
Probably not. I wouldn't have known that she didn't score a point. But that's why we call them Rileys or Lingermans, or that's something we've been doing for the last 2 years. I honestly can't explain it, but it's also the kid that we saw when we were recruiting her. I've told y'all before that we weren't going to see her, and she just kept jumping off the page at you. This kid just makes winning plays. It is so hard to do, but yeah, no, probably not, Grant. I'd have to really search hard to find some game when that happened, but I mean, not even the numbers, not the number of rebounds, the number of tip balls, the number of times she was in the right place to take away a drive or make a next hockey assist pass was really, really good. And everybody rallies around her. I think, when she makes a play like that, not only does the crowd get up, but it gets our team up.
Coach, I'd ask Samara about, you're talking about the team peaking at the right time. I feel like Samara's peaking at the right time, 14 now 27. Just talk about just her emergence in the postseason.
you know, it's just time. I mean, I think she had a little slump there. I mean, every kid, she's no longer a sophomore. I mean, she's played as many minutes as a lot of seniors have. So they go through those moments. They go through those times. We all do it. I do it. They do it. We've all individually done it. And, you know, to see her catch her second win and get that fire going. And again, we all spark each other. You know, we continue to spark each other when it comes to those things like that. But, you know, when she gets going at that speed and that pace, there's just not very many guards and still left in the tournament that are as fast as she is with and without the ball.
And I really want to specifically talk about the guard defense. And, you know, earlier in the year, it's kind of been a struggle. What's kind of clicked for Michaela and Sam and really shutting their guards down at this late in the season?
They take it personal. I mean, they take it personally when guards have good games and guards are able to lead their teams, and they don't want that to happen. You know, we switch them off a little bit, and they take a lot of joint pride in that. And now with the last two games, you know, Harrison coming off 28 and Kiana Walker, there was a lot of talk about that. I'm not a big bulletin board person, but I found something in their game notes about us not being afraid to take shots. The problem is making them. So we were a little bit motivated by that, just a little extra off the bat. I think we made 7 threes and only one in the second half. But I do think our group, especially those two, have a lot of pride, very prideful. And I think there were times this year when guards maybe had games on them that they didn't much like. And I think they've made it a concerted effort in practice. And the other thing I'll have to tell you is having our guys' practice team back matters. We've got a couple of guys that come out and can simulate speed that we can't. They don't guard each other. So we have a hard time simulating speed. But when our guys' practice team comes out, they can simulate that speed. And our kids have been very vocal this year about how we do prep. Like I tend to kind of pull back a little bit because I worry about injury and I worry about fatigue and I worry about all that. And they were like, hey, we've got to go live and we need our guys. And they've been great for us all year long, but specifically to your point here lately.
Just quickly, you have a snapshot of Texas Tech, and was it a tussle to get that home game away from them?
I don't know. I mean, Kylie and them were over there talking about it. It happened pretty fast. I think our administration is very bullish. I'm sure they, in their meetings, I know, I mean, we all know how our athletic department, how aggressive they are. And I think they probably were very aggressive in wanting to host. I mean, we have 33,000 here on a Monday night. I think they've got expectations. If we get that game, which was on Friday after our men advance, there's going to be a euphoric feeling in Fayetteville, and we might even double that or whatever. But it happened pretty fast. I have seen Texas Tech a lot. There's a lot of people on that roster that we're familiar with that have transferred in there, and we follow the Big 12 very closely at our house as Bowen walks into the room. He could probably tell you something about Texas Tech, can't you, Bowen? Nope, probably not. He is going to bother somebody with a camera. But we have seen him a lot. Granted, it won't take us long to get ready. They've got Bree Amber Scott's an Arkansas kid that we've known well, played at Texas, played at Mississippi State as well. You know, they're going to come out of the Big 12. Had a good, that's another rugged league, and SMU's a good team too. So I haven't seen that film yet. For them to beat SMU by that score, I know they're playing well and starting to peak at the right time. You get this deep in the tournament, everybody you're going to play is good and playing well.
And then the last thing I'll ask is there's two stats that really jump out to me with 18-0 second chance points and 20-0 fast break, which are just two categories that show a lot of hustle.
Yeah.
Will you just talk about, it being this many games under the team's belt and they're showing that type of energy?
We're not historically a second chance team. That's just not our makeup. We choose to go the other way. But I think based on the way the game was tonight, that opportunity was there. And to dominate those two stats and then not to turn it over. I mean, we have 13 turnovers, but a lot of those were late after they kept pressing us. So I felt like, from top to bottom, maybe as good as we've played against that good quality opponent in a while. Young man in the back. Do you have a question? Yes? Oh.